Ugandans are now spending more on some items than they did before. The government says the conflict in Ukraine has caused major supply disruptions. These have led to a sharp rise in the local prices of goods and services.
We have COVID that is still with us, although the impacts were beginning to wane. Now we've added on Ukraine, Russia. Ukraine and Russia being some of the biggest suppliers, probably contributing 50% to the supplies of critical raw materials. And we are seeing it play out in the cost of bread through wheat. We are seeing it play out in the cost of oil through palm oil and related items. And we are seeing it play out in the cost of steel as well.
Uganda's Ministry of Finance says the cost of transport, food, housing, electricity, water, gas and other fuels are on an upward trend. This has pushed monthly inflation from 3.7% in March to 4.9% in April 2022. Economic analysts warn the trend is impeding economic activity.
At a corporate level, we may wish to see, if it gets the worst, we may wish some bit of downsizing in some companies because of operational costs that they are incurring to sustain their employees, especially the private sector.
Uganda says it cannot do much about the situation because it's triggered by external factors and will leave the forces of demand and supply to prevail. However, the government has put in place a small business recovery fund to provide concessional loans to struggling enterprises. Uganda is among the countries that had the longest COVID-19 lockdown restrictions. But in January this year, the government decided to fully reopen its economy to business. And while the early weeks of the year registered some progress, the Bank of Uganda says all economic indicators point to a weakening domestic growth. Economic analysts argue with expected bumper food crop harvests, Uganda is in a better situation compared to other countries. But they warn people may turn to unsafe alternatives like charcoal for energy.
You and I know the impact of charcoal in terms of environmental aspects. I mean, we are trying to say, we are trying to protect the environment. But if charcoal is the available alternative that is cheaper, I will opt for that. So you're likely to see an increase in the use of alternative energy sources, which are not energy friendly or which are not climate friendly.
The Bank of Uganda says it will maintain credit relief for the education and hospitality sectors that suffered from extended COVID-19 restrictions. But uncertain about the future, economic analysts advise ordinary people to adjust their spending habits in order to cope.